back to the Angry Dave podcast. I am Dave, and this next episode is another episode of my thoughts. First thing on my mind today is I'm on social media quite often, and I see these motivational messages pop across my screen, and then I also see people making videos with the motivational messages, over top of the video, them working out or doing whatever. And it often talk about how hard work can get you everything that you want. Basically, if you aren't getting what you want, you just aren't working hard, and that lazy people are failures, and you're just being lazy. Work harder, work harder, work harder. You just have to outwork everybody and you'll get what you want. Stop being lazy. This is the sort of the same message in another version that we give our young athletes, and that a lot of our parents have been convinced of, and have caused them to spend thousands of dollars on personal trainers and, you know, AAU tournaments and all this other ways to spend money to try to make your kid a better athlete and to get scholarships or make it to the majors, even when they lack the physical attributes to be an elite athlete. This message is a lie, really. Yes, of course, hard work pays off. Yes, the path to success is certainly hard work. You have to put work in if you want to get better at something, if you want to be the best that you can be. However, your expectation can't be that putting the hard work in will make you the best at it, or uh, that you will be the best if you just put the hard work in, or conversely, you're just being lazy. You just need to work a little bit harder. You need to be in the gym a little bit more. You need to study a little bit harder, and that'll make you Einstein or Mike Trout or, Jalen Hurts. Because most likely you're not going to be the best. Most likely you won't make it to the top. Most likely, if you put all the work in, you will probably be above average to very good, but you won't be exceptional. Even if you put every minute of every day into whatever you're doing, into studying or into your athletic career. It's just the math of it, right? There's only a certain amount of people that can be the best. There's only one champion at a time. There's only one president at a time. There's only one CEO of a company at a time. So everybody's not going to make it to the tippy top. Just the way it works. Does that mean you shouldn't try hard or push for your dreams? Of course, that's not what I'm saying. It just means that you need to reevaluate what success means to you. You need to be okay with not reaching to the top. And like I said in my previous podcast, you need to be okay with failing, right? Or sucking. That the process of getting there, of putting the effort in, of getting better and making improvements needs to be the goal, right? That there needs to be value put in that in and of itself, because it will get you better. It will get you into a better position. You will be better at the end. Uh, just as long as you're emotionally prepared for the fact that you may not be the best, and most likely you won't be the best. You need to be okay with that. The end goal can't always be being the best. Because if that were true, then nearly everyone fails. The 99.99% of us are then failures. The goal in anything that you do really should be trying to improve yourself and to try to be a happier person, to obtain a marketable skill, to be able to live your life in the vision that you see it. Those are all successes, right? But being the best doesn't have to be the only version of success. It's about your perception, right? And it's about what you expect out of it. Because again, in sports and in life, there are very few people that make it to the pinnacle. And even those people that do, oftentimes they're so singularly focused that they forget about everything else in their life because that's what it takes to get there. So, just another thought is that even if you do put all that effort in and all that time in, and you work as hard as you can, and you actually do get there, you become the CEO, you become the champion, you make it to the majors or whatever. Will that actually make you happy? Ask yourself that question. Because if the answer is no, or I don't know, the question is it worth it? Is it worth the time and the effort? I don't know what that answer is. Some people, it is. But I know for me that relationships mean far too much for me to ever be singularly focused on anything. You know, but again, if does that make, I think that the people in these motivational talks would say that I was a failure because, I'm just lazy. I mean, I am a little bit lazy, but 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 for anyone out there that just put any effort into being the best, it doesn't make you lazy if you have a different version of what success means to you. Don't get caught up in that one singular version of these people that become singularly focused on just being the best or having the most money, you know, because that doesn't guarantee you any happiness. And you're going to be spending a lot of time and a lot of energy and a lot of your life to this one singular focus. And in the end, if it doesn't make you happy, then why were you doing it? Why were you wasting that time? You have a very limited amount of time on this earth. It seems to me that the best bang for your buck was to have a smile on your face at the end of the day. So do whatever you can do to make that happen. And the other thought is too is just have a different thought on what the outcome of anything that you do should be, right? If you're putting effort in, it should be to strive to be the best that you can be, the best version of you that makes you happy. You don't have to be the richest or the strongest or the champion to be the best. You just have to be the best person for you. It doesn't matter what the outside world thinks. And the other thing that I want to recommend to people is to, as you're working on all of these things, on the sport or the athletics or, the corporate job or whatever, as you're grinding and you're putting that time in and that effort, don't forget about the mental aspect of it. I've seen many times, especially with athletes, where they push so hard for so long and they're so singularly focused and they forget about everything else that's going on except for what they're doing to try to become the best at their craft. And then they come to the end road because the end comes for everybody, whether it's in high school, in college, at the Olympics, the end, there's an end for every athlete, right? There's an end because you reach a point where you're not going to get physically better, where it's just a downturn. And when they reach that point, they become lost because they weren't prepared for anything else. That they just and they weren't prepared to not be the best. because they were just so singularly focused. So prepare yourself again that you may not reach that goal. However, that doesn't mean you're not successful. That doesn't mean that you haven't obtained great reward out of what you did. Pushing yourself to that limit is a success in and of itself. Gaining that skill is a success in and of itself. Having those experiences that that life gave you and the friendships, those are successes in and of themselves. But just be prepared to move on because we're all going to have to change directions at one point or another. Even the CEO gets fired and has to get, change jobs, or, you reach upper management and you don't get that CEO job. Then what? Then what? If you can't reach that goal, then what? Do you just keep pushing and drive yourself nuts where you know that you're not going to get there? Or what do you do? Change directions. Be okay with not being the best. Be okay with the experiences that you had, with the life that you were able to give your family, the experiences that you were able to give your family, the experiences or the relationships that you created. They are all just as or more valuable than any label that, you know, gold medalist, champion, CEO, any label can give you. Again, in the end, when it's all said and done and you're on your deathbed, is that label going to matter? Or are those relationships or those smiles, that laughter that you had over the years, those experiences, are those going to matter? John Slinko was on my podcast a number of episodes ago, and he said the greatest thing that his father ever gave him was time, his time, to be with him. And they had a short time together because his father died young, and John was just in his early 20s. And again, that's what I want to tell all of you is that your life here on this earth is limited. The greatest thing that you have for yourself and for others is your time. Spend that time wisely. Do not spend it the way other people want you to spend it or the way you perceive people wanting you to spend it. Spend it on what will make you happy and content. And be okay with spending that time on things that you want to do it, just as long as you're okay with the process. The process is what matters. The effort is what matters. The outcome is secondary. It has to be. It has to be. Another thing that's been on my mind lately is I see a lot of people that have started to send their kids to virtual school or they're homeschooling their kids. And, you know, I don't understand this movement. What are you saving your kids from? Like, do you really think that you're better equipped to educate your children at home with just you or, the two of you? If it's a You really have more resources and are more prepared to educate a child than your local school district or your local private school. Now, I understand concerns in safety, but I don't understand the economics of, the second person staying home to have to be able to watch the kid um, or educate the kid while the other parent goes out and works. I don't, send the kid to a nice private school, nice safe private school, or find a nice safe school in your local school district. In Philadelphia, both of those things exist. I just don't understand the arrogance of you actually thinking that you're better at educating someone than a system that has existed for hundreds of years. Again, is it the greatest system in the world? I don't know. No, of course it isn't. But how are you better at that? And secondly, even if you are better at educating your child, the things that your child is missing from a developmental standpoint, from an ability to interact with other human beings, you know, what are you saving them from? Are you saving them from trials and tribulations of being a child, a teenager, of, you know, having ups and downs and having disagreements with kids and fights on the schoolyard in the schoolyard? Here's my point is that if they don't deal with that when they're with you as a child and have your guidance and learn how to interact with other human beings, both good and bad, then what's going to happen when they go out on their own? So you homeschool them the whole time. They have many less like individual interactions with children that are outside of the parent, the parent outside of the parent's view. Then they go out into the world, and are they going to really be prepared for the world? I guess my point is that if you do this, if you keep the kids home and you keep them in their protective cocoon, it's really just delaying the inevitable. And now you're putting them at a disadvantage because they're not going to be prepared to be out in the world with real people who had ability to interact with people for many more years. Again, I understand that there's ways to get your kids involved in things with, in the homeschool situation, but it's not the same, guys. And I think if you're honest with yourself, you have to know that. And virtually all of the people that are doing this now all went to a real school, growing up, and they survived it. So I don't understand why you would want to take that opportunity away from your child. Again, if you have 7 or 8 kids at home or something, and it makes economic sense to stay home and do that there, I guess that makes sense to me because of the economics of it. But if it's anything else other than that, if it's a protection thing or a thing where you think that you're really better equipped to educate your kid in a full, sense, not just the academics of it, but actually being able to give them culture and to be able to have them be beings that can communicate and solve problems on their own and be out in the real world and deal with disagreements. You're doing your kids a real disservice if you're keeping them home. I don't see it any other way. I mean, I'm a strong believer in public school and having my kids be around people that are different than them and uh, different class than them, different race than them, different ethnicity, different culture. I think that's a huge advantage um, to you in the long run. Again, they would have to be in a safe school and a safe environment. I'm not going to throw them to the wolves, but I believe in public education. But I understand people that want to send their kid to a private school because of the better education. It's safer, but I don't understand this ego where you think that you are really doing your kid a service by keeping them in a cocoon. It's a dangerous proposition. I mean, we saw this with COVID. I saw it firsthand in my house and in a number of people's house with young kids who got who we basically had to homeschool for a year and a half, right? I mean, they were on the internet or it was basically internet school slash homeschooling, and kids suffered, absolutely suffered. My 17-year-old was in eighth grade and spent the second half of eighth grade at home and the full ninth grade at home. And he struggled at first with relationships with other kids. I mean, he's doing great now, but there was a delay there. And I talked to a lot of parents, and a lot of parents have had the same thing. So we have a real example in our lives where that happened, where we isolated our children and they suffered. And, medical professionals will tell you without question, psychologists will tell you without question that these kids have really suffered, that there's a delay, that, um, that they probably lost a year and a half or 2 years in their development while sitting in the house. And I urge you to think what you're doing to your kids if you keep them home and you don't let them develop in a natural way with other kids. It's, the benefits of sending them to actual school far outweigh the benefits of keeping them home. There's no question in my mind. Is is it more dangerous being outside the house? Of course it is. But but if you live your life like that, you're going to be in a hard way to go, because every time you walk out your door, there's danger in the world. So my suggestion to anybody who's afraid, to send their kid to a city school or whatever because they might, because they feel unsafe, they feel that their kid's unsafe, is move to a different location where you're more comfortable with having your kids outside. I don't think the answer is to keep them in a cocoon though. Again, that's just one man's opinion. Something else on my mind that's a little bit less intellectually stimulating is people in downtown Philadelphia and their dogs. I've complained about people and their animals a few times on this podcast, but a few weeks ago, I go downtown to see my wife do comedy at a local spot, and I'm taking my son with me, and we park and we walk in Rittenhouse Square, you know, basically the richest area in downtown Philadelphia. And I see people, probably 15 people with their dogs. It's a beautiful fall night, probably 60 degrees out at the time. And all I can smell is fucking shit. Dog shit. These people with their little fucking stupid dogs in their stupid apartments with their fucking shitting dogs all over the fucking neighborhood. Now, again, I know you pick it up. It's adorable. You pick it up. But it doesn't take the shit smell and the shit smears away. What the fuck? If you want a fucking shitting animal, find some fucking where for the fucking shitting animal to shit that isn't in fucking public so I don't have to fucking smell your shitty fucking dog. I don't understand this. I don't understand people that have animals that where they have to have the animal invade everybody else's fucking life. I love animals. Again, I love dogs. I love my neighbors' dogs. They, my neighbors in Jersey have plenty of place for their dogs to shit and not fucking annoy other people with their smell. Sometimes they shit on my property. I'm perfectly happy with that. I have accepted that. I have offered my property for them to shit on. I have not offered my whole goddamn life with your fucking dogs in the city. It smells awful. Like, literally downtown Philadelphia in Rittenhouse Square smelled like fucking shit on a fucking Friday night or Saturday night, whatever it was. It's 60 degrees out. Beautiful night with hundreds of people walking the neighborhood. And all I could smell is motherfucking dog shit. Holy motherfucking dog shit. Please, please curb your dog in your fucking apartment or in your goddamn yard. Find a place for it to shit. I don't want it to shit where I have to walk and smell it. Why is that? Why is this a thing? Why is this a motherfucking thing? Why is it? God, why are fucking dogs allowed to shit all over the place? Why is it not a public health concern? I don't understand it. How is it any different than a human walking up and shitting and then picking the shit up on a public pavement? Why is that any fucking different? It's not. It's not conceptually different. I'm done complaining about your fucking dogs. Fucking rich people and their fucking stupid, fucking tiny little fucking cat looking dogs. All right. I have another rant, and it has to do with celebrities when they die. Particularly recently, Matthew Perry died. I'm sorry the guy died, but I get nauseated by when I see regular people like crying on the internet about people they never have met in their goddamn life. Is it sad that a human being died? Yes. It's a hell of a lot more sad that there's fucking innocent babies dying in wars in Europe and the Middle East, and there are babies starving all over the world, or your own family members, who are die young and those types of things. It's not really that sad that a person who struggled with drug addiction for most of his life died young. I mean, it's almost inevitable, right? Again, it's always sad when somebody dies, but did he really provide that much to the world that we have to fucking mourn his death because he was on a goddamn popular TV show and then spent most of the rest of his life fucking shitting on his life despite the opportunities that he had? And I have nothing wrong with nothing against Matthew Perry. I don't fucking know him. He might have been a perfectly great human being, great to be fun to be around, but you don't know him. Why the fuck do you care? Why is it fucking international news? He was on a goddamn TV show. We care more about these fucking fake people that we don't know than like real shit that's going on in the world. I I don't understand that. I just don't. And like I said this to a couple people in work and at home, and they get like mad at me. Well, I loved him. No, you loved the character that he was. The fake, you can still see the character still exists. Go watch reruns. I mean, you don't even know this person. And I'm not judging him. And people struggle with addiction all the time, but it's not any particular sadness that some guy in a popular TV show died. There's a lot of those that happen every day. Why was Matthew Perry somebody we pick out to mourn? Fuck that guy. Like, I mean, who cares? How about mourning fucking babies that are dying? How about that? How about we spend our time mourning those instead of people that had an abundance of chances and died young and had, ostensibly a good part of his life that was much better than most people could ever imagine. That's my suggestion. Erect your mourning in an appropriate place where for real people that maybe are in your life or real people that need a voice. Matthew Perry doesn't need a voice. God rest his soul. I have another public service announcement too. Um, I just heard today that there's like double the amount of bikers in the city of Philadelphia that died this year in bike accidents. So my public service announcement to bikers are: if you don't know how to fucking ride a bike, stay off the goddamn road. Again, I'm sure every one of the accidents were not their fault, but I see a lot of people that are riding bikes these days that really should just be riding one in a park and not on a fucking public street, or people that are completely oblivious that think, that riding the bike gives them a great big steel shield around them, or bikers that refuse to actually share the road and think that all traffic laws don't apply to them, and do dangerous shit like fucking cut in front of fucking moving 4,000 pound vehicles. So Public service announcement. If you don't know what you're doing, get off the motherfucking road. And by the way, bikes, pedestrians actually do have still the right of way. You're not a pedestrian. You, in the rules of the road, are not more important than every single fucking human being. And stay off Broad Street, please. In the other major roads that are not designed for you, there's plenty of roads where they designate bikes to go. Please stay on those fucking roads and don't get yourself fucking killed where fucking cars are going 45, 50 fucking miles an hour and you're still weaving in and out of traffic. You fucking boneheads. Yeah, and I'm sorry for anybody. Again, there's people out there that don't pay attention to anything, to motorcycles, to bikes. I get all that. But the proliferation of people riding bikes that really don't know how to ride the bike, do me a favor, stay in the park for a while, learn how to ride your bike, and then come out into traffic very slowly, like start on like a side street and then a little bit bigger street. But always, always stay off the major thoroughfares, please. The ones that don't have bike lanes. You know what I mean? They don't have bike lanes for a reason. Just saying. Okay. Thank you. All right. That's all I got for now. The next time I come back on one of these, I'm going to give you some 10 things I've learned. I'll start with 10 things I've learned from being an attorney. Um, I'll eventually talk about 10 things I learned about running a baseball team, and I'll start integrating that kind of stuff into these Dave's Thoughts podcasts. I'll always continue with my rants, of course, but until next time, I'm out. Peace. Hope you enjoyed it. But if you didn't, you can suck at it.